Larry McCarthy, today yourself and Tom Ryan inside in the GAA Museum here in Croke Park stated publicly that you would vote for Proposal B at the weekend. How big a decision was that for you to decide to go public with this, first of all?
I'm not so sure it was a big decision. We have preferences in front of us. We were asked the question which way might we vote, and we both stated our preference for a particular option. I'm not so sure it's that big of a decision, really.
Sure. I guess what I'm asking is, did you consider coming out at any point in the last couple of weeks to throw your weight behind one of these proposals?
No, we didn't. We were very, very happy with the discussion went. We launched the information through the provinces a number of weeks ago. Then we sent out the videos, to all the clubs, so the discussion was ongoing, and that was excellent. And then we just decided in a pre-Congress briefing we were asked the question, we answered it today.
Is the general sense in the corridors of Croke Park that people do want to see Proposal B passed?
I can't answer that because the corridors of Croke Park are empty.
The
building is empty. Tom and myself are of the one voice in terms of that preference. I must admit I haven't canvassed any of the other staff who are around the building, to be perfectly, or either around the building or on Zoom.
Sure. Because there's definitely been a couple of comparisons between how this motion has been debated in public and, say, Pádraig Duffy getting his weight behind the Super 8s or Sean Kelly getting behind Rule 42. Was there conversations at all about how much you guys could have done to actually accelerate this thing over the last couple of weeks rather than waiting until today to say anything?
No, there wasn't. None at all.
So Proposal B then, the main motion that seems to be causing consternation, especially with the provincial councils, is the moving of the provinces to the start of the year. What would your message to them be, those people who are concerned about their the provincial championships potentially losing importance?
Well, what I've said all along is that I would like us to be bold in terms of what we're doing, and that's one of the options. The moving of the championships will stand alone. In 20 years' time, when you look at the record and you'll see that Tyrone, for instance, maybe win the Ulster Championship in 2022, nobody will know that it was played in March or April, vis-a-vis June or July, for instance. It'll stand on its own merits, I think.
We were speaking to Michael Reynolds from Leinster Council the other day, and it's interesting getting that perspective because I think there's an understanding why Ulster Council want to protect their championship. But from Leinster's standpoint, why do you think there's such a digging of the heels in to try and maintain their provincial championship when we've seen over recent years that provincial championship really hasn't done anything for the GAA?
Well, you asked Michael. Michael is the secretary. I have no understanding of why Michael might be digging his heels in the context of the question you're asking me.
In general, then, theoretically, why would provincial councils be trying to protect their championships? Is there a sort of power situation going on here?
No, there's not a power situation going on at all. I think just historically they have seen that the championships have been the way that the All-Ireland Championship has operated, and it's changed. And maybe people are not embracing the change. Perhaps they're not being bold like I hoped that they might have been when I made my comments at Congress last February.
Have you spoken to many people operating at provincial level in terms of your own research and your own conversations around this?
I've spoken to a couple of people, yes.
And what's the general feeling from your perspective?
It seems to be an understanding that change is needed. This may not necessarily be the type of change that the provincial people are actually looking for, but I think there is a broad understanding that we need to change the championship.
The players have been quite vocal on this. The GPA, as ever, have canvassed their members, and of the people who responded to their survey, 80% of people would like to see Proposal B in. Do you see a future for the GAA where the players have more of a voice at Congress? Because I think it's 2 votes represented by the players on Saturday.
Yeah, it is 2 votes, and as I said inside in the press conference, it's very good that they, as stakeholders in this process, have a voice and made their options, made their considerations available. Made their thoughts available to us. Do I see them increasing the number of votes in Congress? Not in the immediate future.
Because if this gets rejected on Saturday, 80%, that 80% figure will probably come out again, and it will seem as if delegates have voted against the players.
I don't know. I can't characterize. You couldn't characterize it as voting against the players. Absolutely not.
Well, 80% of them said they want this, and if it doesn't carry, then
yeah. But it's not against the players. Is my point.
Who is it against then?
It's that they don't particularly like the option that's on the table. It's not against anybody.
Sure.
Absolutely not against anybody.
I guess one of the fears then on that level of the debate is if this doesn't get through, that there won't be something like this again in Congress for the next couple of years. But I'm sensing today that you feel that the change could happen quickly again.
Yeah, I mean, if there is no change, well, there will be change anyway on Saturday because of the new championship format coming in. That's a given. But I mean, if any one of these proposals, either A or B, don't go through, I'm sure that the championship structure will be revisited again.
Sorry, just to clarify, you said there will be a new championship structure coming in. How do you mean by that?
I mean, when we have a split season, when we have the Talton Cup coming in, so it's going to be an exciting football year anyway.
The status quo, I understand, then will be no Super 8s back to the qualifier system.
Right.
From your perspective, would that be a disappointment to see that come back in next year?
No, I think the quarterfinals are a very, very good weekend, are a very good marketing tool for us actually, and I'd be excited to see them come back in.
Your general sense then, I guess, as we wrap up here about which way this is going to go, do you think that the GAA is ready for this change?
I hope the GAA is ready for the change.
That's all you can really say right now.
Listen, you're asking me to speculate on voting in the GAA. That's not a good thing to be doing, I can assure you. But I mean, look, I hope, as I said, I hope we'll be bold about it.
And then could I just ask, would you actually be picking up the phone, canvassing yourself? I know maybe, I'm not sure if that's something you're allowed to do, is it?
I don't know if I'm allowed to do it. I wouldn't be doing it.
Right. And what about even just hearing Tom talk today about how much he's on your side as well, and how much you both want this? Does that maybe change your mind at all on that actually if this thing could come close to the 60 but fall short unless you were to intervene and actually try?
Well, look, it's not Tom Ryan's or Larry McCarthy's decision. It's Congress' decision. It's the delegates who are coming in here on Saturday morning. They'll make the decision.